actress of Broadway to Glee's McKinley High School, our next guest is known for her wickedly great talents. She's currently performing on a nationwide concert tour. Please welcome Idina Menzel.
Hi, thanks.
Idina, hi.
So happy to be here. I'm jingling though.
Oh, you're gorgeous. You can jingle.
That's because you're musical.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
So, Mrs., you've been singing since you were just a little tot,
Yeah.
right? And then your first professional work was you were a wedding singer.
Yeah, wedding and bar mitzvahs in Long Island, and New York,
Fabulous.
and Connecticut. Yeah.
At
my
what
parents,
age?
my parents split up and around when I was 15, and so I wanted to get a job to help my dad. You know, pay. He had to move out, and he had 2 households to pay. You know, whatever. So I started working, and I lied about my age, and I said I was 18 because I thought they would hire me then. And I was out with all these wedding bands singing everything from Whitney Houston to Madonna to the girl from Ipanema or whatever. You know.
I love it.
So, go ahead. So any weddings or bar mitzvahs stand out? Any crazy stories?
Yeah, and there's so many, I don't even really know where to start. One of the most interesting ones was I was doing a gig at this place called Leonard's, which has about 6 brides that are always running around at the same time.
On Northern Boulevard.
Yeah.
I know it. Go ahead. I've been to many Sweet 16s and bar mitzvahs. Go ahead.
And anyway, I actually was singing that song, Girl from Ipanema, you know. And all of a sudden, this man started to have a heart attack on the dance floor, which apparently is a very common thing for wedding singers to witness. And so I wanted to stop singing, and my boss said, "No, you don't stop singing. The band always plays on." And I was like,
You won on the
okay.
bloody Titanic.
I know, exactly. And I felt so funny, so I kept doing my thing, and I had my little percussion instruments and stuff. And then the bride ran up to me and started screaming at me with her Long Island accent. You know, she said, "How could you stop playing the music? How could you be so insensitive? My uncle's having a heart attack." And
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
He was fine.
So when did you realize, okay, I can make a career out of this beyond being, you know, the wedding singer and go to Broadway?
I don't know. I mean, I've always wanted to sing ever since I was a little kid. So, you know, I would enjoy doing those weddings and just imagining, you know, when I was singing "I'll Always Love You" by Whitney Houston.
But it's great training.
It is great training. You have to learn so many kinds of music.
Exactly.
People don't listen to you. They drink and they eat, and so you build a really thick skin.
Yeah.
And although occasionally I would get some applause after I sing something here and there, I'd say, "Oh my God, they were paying attention. Maybe I have a chance. You know, maybe I have a shot."
I heard you had a bad accident on stage.
Oh yeah, that was we go from heart attack to my accident.
Yeah. We like the drama here. Yeah.
I was in Wicked for a long time, many years, and then on New York. And it was my very last weekend that I was doing it in New York, and there's a, you know, when the witch melts, you know, she goes, "Ah, I'm melting." It's that kind of moment, and it's down in the shadow 2 minutes before the end of the show, and the way we would do it is there's this big trapdoor hole kind of thing in the stage. It would be open, and it would have a floor, and I'd stand on it, and then it would be like an elevator, and it would go down like that, and I'd go, "Melting," like that. Well, there was a sub on the board that was calling all the cues, and the thing was open, and I walked into an empty hole, and I broke my ribs. I fell like in the hole like a super action hero in a movie, and I was holding myself up like this. And meanwhile, remember, I'm green in a black wig with
a live audience.
It was literally, "Is there a doctor in the house?" moment. They pulled out the stretcher. I couldn't breathe. I thought I punctured a lung or something like that, you know.
And there's no way you could sing with broken ribs.
You can know. And so I was just laying there, and they pulled me out on the stretcher in the green makeup. And so, cut to the hospital. I'm on the gurney, you know. My mom's there. They're making all the stupid jokes like, "Oh, you're not looking too good today." And then they were wheeling me down to X-rays, and all of a sudden my husband comes running in, who is a very good-looking man.
Yes,
Tay
Tay
Diggs.
Diggs.
Yeah. And then the nurse realizes that she like forgot my files. She drops her pen, the whole thing. She's starstruck by my husband, and I just looked at her. I was all morphined out and everything, and I was just like, look, if you can keep it together and get me to X-ray, I promise I'll introduce you to my husband. Don't leave me here with like green makeup.
Did you ever take your final bow? Did you ever?
Yeah. So the end to that story was, you know, I had no clothes because I'd come in a costume, and they had given me all these drugs, you know, like, you know, painkillers or whatever. And they said to Tay, my husband, well, you can take her home now, get her in her clothes. And he said, what clothes? She came in a witch's costume. So I put on those plastic surgeon pants, pulled up to here, and a sweatshirt, and I went home. The next day, the producer said, we want to give you some kind of closure, and you'd have a real curtain call or whatever. So Tay bought me this red tracksuit that would be easy to help me get dressed. I couldn't, you know, barely go to the bathroom or shave my legs or whatever. So he put this comfy little tracksuit on. And then I came out on stage, and they gave me a nice speech. And, you know.
When we come back, we're going to ask Idina how she and Tay met. We'll be right back.
Back with one of the most versatile actresses in the business, Idina Menzel. Is that wicked enough?
That's really good.
Go on, you can ask a question.
No, you were going to ask about Tay Diggs.
How did you meet that gorgeous man? Don't laugh.
Well, it's, you know, similar. You know how it is in the biz. We were in an off-Broadway show called Rent at the time. It was before it went to Broadway, and we, you know, we became friends first, actually, for a while. But apparently, that's his way in. He likes to befriend the woman and spoon with them, and then, you know.
Well, it's worked.
So it worked, yeah. But so we met in Rent, and we had our characters, Maureen and Benny, actually had very similar trajectories in the show, which means like everybody would be on the stage, and our characters would be off the stage at the same time. And so we had a lot of good quality time in the dressing room. And I didn't mean it like that.
That was a good way. That was a good
But
way.
he would do the cutest thing, which I have to say, I still have these in a little box. He'd leave me Post-its all the time, little yellow Post-its on my dressing table. It would say something like, oh, your butt looked cute in that costume tonight, honey, or let's go see a movie or whatever. And every time I come back to fix something or run out, I have another Post-it.
Oh, he was in love.
Yeah.
Now you guys have a 2-year-old son,
Yeah.
Walker.
Walker Nathaniel Diggs.
Cute. Can you tell yet if he's got the performing gene in him?
He totally does. Yeah, if you take off his clothes around bath time, he like will dance naked for hours to Beyonce, all the single ladies. He'll say to you, on. And Bruno Mars, just the way you are. He's
got good
amazing.
taste.
So you and Tay started a foundation for kids who are interested in arts. Tell us about that.
Yeah. When I was young, I was fortunate enough to go to sleepaway camp for a bunch of summers in a row, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And so I always wanted to have that somehow later on. And so this past summer, we had a camp called A Broader Way that we brought about 30 girls from inner cities up to the Berkshire Mountains in Vermont to a performing arts camp where we played volleyball and swam and tennis and all that, but we also brought some star composers like Janine Chisori, who worked on Shrek and Carolina Change. She was up there the full 10 days. It was 10 days, did I say that? And they worked with them, and we collaborated with them. We took their lyrics and their poetry, and we formed a concert with them. And then on the 11th day, we brought them back into Manhattan at Columbia University, and we put on a show.
Wow. That's a big deal. That's great.
Now, on top of everything else you're doing, you're also a regular on Glee. What's it like to work with such a talented cast?
It's been great, especially recently, and they don't let you talk that much about the plot, but I have some really fun things going up. It's been fun, and I love it because I'm a theater person, and so it's nice to be around all the singing and the dancing, and, you know, being out here in Hollywood, it's, you know, I miss New York. I miss the community of that, and there's that spirit is eminent there all the time.
Well, you are performing on stage around the country on tour. What's it like being Idina Menzel, you know, on stage versus whether you're Maureen in Rent, you know, as a character on stage?
I've been doing these tours with these concerts with symphonies all over the country. And we just got back from London. We were at Royal Albert Hall. We're at the Greek, which is in LA. I've seen a bunch of shows there, and I've always dreamt of playing there. And finally,
romantic.
It is. It's beautiful. So it's a huge milestone for me. But the common denominator for me is that it's just as terrifying exposing your soul on stage as yourself or as a character, because for me, you're not really hiding behind a character. You still have to be vulnerable. In order to be a good performer and connect with people, you have to be real and be vulnerable. And that's, you know, whether I have the makeup to hide behind or not.
Well, I've seen you perform, and you are always in the zone.
Thanks.
You are amazing. Idina Menzel, thank you for coming on the show. You can see Idina perform at the Greek Theater right here in Los Angeles this Saturday. For more information about her tour, go to thetalk.com. We'll be right back.